Before we get to the hydroponic, let's talk about the problem. The current situation is that the COVID-19 outbreak, people get panic and scared, so they decided to go to supermarket and buy lots of food. So the amount purchased is too much, and the government cannot increase the quantity of the product in time. So on the other hand, people who buy too many food wouldn't be able to consume all the food before it's expired, and the expired food would be thrown out for no reason. The hydroponic gardening system conducted in an industrial scale, but not in household in many countries.
Alright, so for this first solution of our first objective is that we are trying to prove the benefit of the hydroponic farm. We will make an example to prove that the hydroponic farming is better than ground farming. By doing so, we start to conduct the experiment by ourselves. Therefore, the experiment has the objective to compare the hydroponic farm and ground gardening process in many terms. For example, the space that required, the amount of budget has been used, and the growth rate of the plants. Okay. And what we did is that we purchased the starter kit for the hydroponic gardening at 2,000 baht, and then we assembled the starter kit, set up the pump, and then we fill the water into the container. And after that, the plant the seed into the nursery until the root grows. Okay, then we move the plant in the nursery, the seed that grows with little root, and then we move it into the growing pot. The growing tray. Okay, so what we have in the starter kit is that we have perlite, okay, which is a kind of rock. Okay, actually it's a volcanic rock that has very much nutrition in there. Well, the one good thing about the perlite is that it highly absorbs water. Okay, so when you put perlite in a humidity place, it will start to swell, and then when you crush it, there's a moisture in there. And then inside the starter kit we have the pot. Okay, for the perlite container, we pour the perlite into the pot, 3/4 of the pot, and then we plant one seed each pot. Okay, and then we have very many kinds of seeds. Okay, we have green oaks, green coral, red oaks, so many kinds of varieties of plants. Okay, then we have a growing tray and a pump. Okay, to pump in the water, so the water will cycle inside the machine. Okay, we have a growing rack for the nursery, and we have the hydroponic fertilizer. Okay, so the fertilizer is just a nutrition sources for the plants. Okay, so we don't plant the seeds in the ground. Okay, because if we plant the seed in the ground, these kind of nutrition may not be required for the process. But since we are planting these seeds inside the controlled environment, so these nutrients are required. So the first thing is iron. Okay, so if you take a closer look inside the container in the video, you can see that the water in there is red because of the iron. Okay, iron is red. And then we have calcium, sulfur, and magnesium chloride. These are the 4 main nutrients for the plants to grow efficiently. Okay, so what we did, okay, we conducted an experiment, and here's the solution. Okay, so first thing first, I have the picture of the universal growth rate in every plant. Okay, so as you can see, the y-axis is the growth rate of the plant, and the okay, so the growth rate is going to be measured in length. Okay, usually in centimeters and inches. And for the x-axis we have time. Okay, so the time passes, the graph moves. So at the first phase is the lag phase. Okay, so the lag phase is the first phase, okay, by the time goes by, the graph will increase exponentially to the point that the plant is fully grown and will not grow any taller, and that is the time where we harvest the product. Okay, let's take a look first for the plants grow in the hydroponic process. Okay, so in this case we have Chinese convolvulus, the red oak, and the green cos. Okay, so the duration of the experiment, okay, for this is the next data table is the duration. The duration in this case is the duration of the experiment, not the time they are fully grown. Okay, so for the Chinese convolvulus is 18 days, red oak 20s, green cos 20 days. Okay, so we measure the average growth rate every 3 days, and then we do some calculation and make it into per day. Okay, so we do a measurement in inches. Okay, so this is what we got: 0.25 for Chinese convolvulus, 0.2 for red oak, and 0.23 for green cos. Okay, so the maximum growth rate, this is what can be possible inside the internet. Okay, so the internet info is the info that we use to try to compare here. It said that inside the hydroponic farming, it should be 25 to 35 days for 12 inches. The 12 inches is the maximum growth length for the Chinese convolvulus, and so on goes by for the table. And we have another table is about the growth rate in soil. So the growth rate in soil, we have the same kinds of plants, okay, but these data came from the internet. We use the sources to find the information, since we didn't plant the seed in ground. Okay, so we will stick the information accordingly to the internet source. Okay, so we have 0.34 for the Chinese convolvulus, and we have the maximum growth rate is going to be 30 days to 40 days for 12 inches. So the maximum length of the Chinese convolvulus in soil and in hydroponic is going to be the same. Okay, and for the red oaks we have 0.12 growth rate. Okay, 0.12 inches per day. Okay, and we have a maximum growth rate of 50 to 55 days. Okay, so the measurement is going to be in width times height. Okay, so these lectus, okay, so red oaks and green cos are quite in the same family, which is lectus. Okay, they are both lectus, kinds of lectus. Okay, and when we measure these, when we calculate the size, we need to know the width and the height. Okay, not like Chinese convolvulus, we just grown only in height. Okay, they didn't spread much. But red oak and green cos, these letters, they spread a lot. So this is how we calculate it. Okay, for the conclusion for the experiment, okay, so the information that we are going to put into the poster will not be involved about the growth rate of the plants. Okay, the reason is that the data between the measured plants in the hydroponic farming process and the growth rate in soil cannot be compared quite accurately. Okay, because as you can let's think about the universal growth rate in plants, the graph that has been shown before in the previous slide. Well, the graph is going to be linear at the first phase, and then exponentially growth, and then reaches the steady states. Okay, but these plants, okay, we cannot compare these because the growth rate in soil has been measured when the plant is already at the maximum point. Okay, when it's already in the maximum point, it is incomparable. Okay, it can't be compared. But what we can do is we can notice that for the Chinese convolvulus, the difference between the soil and the hydroponic farming process is just only 0.09 inches per day, while the red oaks and green cores for hydroponic and soil, the hydroponic is almost 1 time greater than the soil. If we compare the data we collect from the internet and what we did, okay? Okay, so for the second solution, our plan is to create a poster to show the comparison between planting in hydroponic farm versus the planting in soil. So according to this, these are the two poster we have created. So the first one indicates the comparison directly between the hydroponic farming and the soil gardening, okay? And so for the second poster, this is going to be the information about the hydroponic farm system. The information includes the advantage that the hydroponic system have and how the person could handle it. And we also include the pictures of the real hydroponic farm conducted by our team into the poster. And our objective is that we are going to spread the words about the hydroponic farming and its advantage, and we would like people to get that message. So the only one evaluation that could possibly be done is to share this poster onto the Facebook, and we are going to leave it for a while and let the shares grow. But the shares is quite different than likes, because the share is one person spread the word to their friends and then their friends spread their words to the others. But likes is just only the confirmation that the person have read and understand the objective here. So we hope people will read the poster and they would understand how good the hydroponic farm is when compared to soil, and how this hydroponic farm can solve many problems in our world.
The poster has been posted on the 29th of April by one of the group members. The link of the post has been distributed through other social media so people can spread the word and share the message to many other people who might be interested in the process of the hydroponic farming. The amount of share exceeds 150 shares, but unfortunately many accounts are set private, so the person who share doesn't show the name. Some individuals that are not acquaintances to the group member shares the post and add the description how we grow the plants in a small space without a ground. This message indicates that the person understands the message in the poster.
For the social benefits, this project was created during the COVID-19 outbreak. So when people rush into the supermarket to overbuy food, the government are unable to increase the production to reach the demand of the people. So the hydroponic farming process will let the people grow their own vegetable inside their home. And they don't have to leave their house because they have their own vegetable inside their house, okay? And in economic benefits, the amount of payment will be reduced since people grow their own vegetable. People will have more saving in every month because purchasing vegetable from the supermarket can be avoided. And finally, the environmental benefits. The hydroponic farm mainly about plants, okay? And plants consume carbon dioxide as it used to produce sugar during the process of the photosynthesis, okay? But small scale of hydroponic farm will not affect the Earth's environment much. But imagine if everyone in the world use hydroponic farm, there will be a small green area in every household, and this can help to sustain the Earth's atmosphere. And some of the hydroponic farming component can be replaced with the reused materials such as plastic box, PVC pipe, and others. This can reduce the plastic waste in the environment and help build a better world. Okay, so the project can be concluded that hydroponic farming process has some better advantages than soil. The first thing is that the hydroponic is the control process, while the soil, you have no idea what the farmer has been added into your food, because in hydroponic the only required in nutrition is iron, magnesium chloride, sulfur, and calcium, just these four, okay? But in soil, you don't know the type of fertilizer they use, what kind of chemical they use in addition to keep the plant's growth, okay? And they have a little bit of disadvantages in the short term for the hydroponic farming, because the starter kit worth about 2000 baht or more, okay? And this is not include the seeds that you need to purchase on your own. And the soil is what you need, is just the space to grow and the seeds, okay? But in long term, the soil needs to be sown again. You need to clear the area in order to grow a new crops. But in hydroponic, you just remove the pot, harvest your product, and then you can regrow it immediately. Also, another advantage for the hydroponic farming process is that it requires a small space, okay? For example, we use this as a case study. The lettuce, okay? The lettuce is the very famous kind of plant used to grow in the hydroponic farming process. For one seed, you plant one seed in each pot. Each pot is about three to 3.5 inches apart, and the row for each row is 3 inches apart. But in soil lettuce, you need to plant 10 seeds per foot, okay? And then for the rows, you need to leave 12 to 18 inches apart, which is a lot larger than the hydroponic. So also in hydroponic, you can grow wherever you want, inside your house or outside your house. You can grow it in your bedroom, in the toilet, in the living room. But for the soil, you only need to grow it on ground. You can't grow it in the condominium. So people who lived in a condominium and want to have fresh vegetable to consume, they cannot grow in soil, because in the condominium it's not on the ground, it's above, okay? But hydroponic is very fit for those people who live in a place that have small space left, okay? Because the required area is all about it's very small. You only need about 2 feet times 1 feet. That is the space, the minimum space you require, and you can grow it in many level, okay? You can put a rack over a rack if you bought a another kind of starter kit. So this is the advantage for the hydroponic farming. And we have people who interested in this project. We measure that by the amount of shares on the Facebook, and the amount of shares exceeds our expectation. That means people receive our message, and then they try to spread it around. So thanks to them. So that is the end of our project. This is the summary, and thank you for your attention.